Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Alright, Celtics fans, I know you're reeling right now. The news just broke and it's the story everyone is talking about. Jayson Tatum, one of the brightest stars in the NBA and the heart of the Celtics, is injured. Yep, you heard that right. The guy who's been putting the team on his back all season might not be suiting up tonight for Game 5 against the Knicks. What does this mean for Boston? How does it change their playoff hopes? And more importantly, can they survive without Tatum? We're going to unpack all of this today. We'll break down how it happened, how the team performs without him, and what it all means for the series and beyond. Oh, and stick around because I've got some spicy takes from fans, analysts, and coaches to really round things out. Alright, deep breaths, Celtics Nation, let's jump in. First things first, what's going on with Tatum? Well, it all happened during Game 4. Late in the third quarter, Tatum went up for a contested layup, landed awkwardly, and immediately grimaced in pain. If you caught it live, you know just how bad it looked. He was favoring his right ankle and had to limp off the floor with the help of the trainers. The entire building went silent. Knicks fans, Celtics fans alike, we all recognized how serious it looked. Now here's the update we've all been dreading. According to the team's medical staff, Tatum has a grade 2 ankle sprain. That means he's most likely out for at least this game and could miss a chunk of the series if it goes to 7. And sprains aren't just rest up for a game and you're fine. These things can linger and throw off a player's rhythm. Not the news you want to hear when you're heading into what could be a pivotal Game 5. What hurts even more? Coming into this postseason, Tatum was on an absolute tear. We're talking 30-plus points per game, insane shooting splits, and the leadership we've been waiting for. This was Jayson Tatum's revenge tour after coming so close, but falling short last year. And now the Celtics are staring down some tough questions without their guy. Alright, now that the gut punch is out of the way, it's time we get analytical. What happens to this team without Tatum? Spoiler alert, it's complicated. How the Celtics have played without Tatum? Okay, grabbing a box score only tells part of the story, so let's look at the actual numbers. If we zoom out to the regular season, Boston has played a total of 12 games without Tatum this year. Their record? A respectable 7-5. Better than you might think, right? But before we all start clapping, here's the catch. The Celtics' offensive rating drops off a cliff when Tatum's not in the lineup. With him, we're looking at an elite 118 offensive rating. Without him, that number shrinks to 112. Not catastrophic, but enough to turn wins into closer games, and closer games into losses. Guess who picks up the slack when he's out? It's time to shout out Jaylen Brown. Brown averaged 28 points per game in situations where Tatum missed time, proving once again why he's one of the best two-way players in the league. But here's the problem. Other stars can focus all their energy on him when Tatum isn't drawing attention. It's a hard role for Brown to carry by himself. Defensively, things get even more interesting. Tatum's size, IQ, and versatility allow him to guard virtually anyone on the floor. When he's gone, you're asking players like Derek White, Grant Williams, or rookie Sam Hauser to step up in a major way. And while these guys have shown flashes of brilliance, that's a tall order against a physical Knicks squad. Think about it. The Knicks are built to run you off the floor if you show any weak points. Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, R.J. Barrett. You can't give these guys space or freedom, or they'll torch you. Tatum allows Boston to play perfectly spaced defense. Without him, New York's big three are probably circling this matchup like a prime cut of steak at a cookout. And here's another wrinkle. Al Horford, as awesome as he's been, is not Jayson Tatum. The guy is clutch on defense and still pulls out big three-pointers. But you can't suddenly make him the offensive anchor. The weight falls almost entirely on Brown and Marcus Smart to step up the scoring. Translation, higher workload, higher fatigue, and higher chances for mistakes. But hey, Boston has pulled off some clutch games without Jayson before. We've seen them tough it out and win gritty, ugly basketball games. The question is, can they actually do it under the postseason spotlight? Alright, now we're getting into the big questions. How does this injury shake up the Celtics' entire postseason picture? Game 5 versus the Knicks. Think about where this series stands right now. Boston managed to steal one on the road in Game 3, so we're all tied heading into Game 5. Usually, that's where home court advantage starts to matter, especially for Boston. But with Tatum sidelined, both momentum and pressure shift dramatically. The Knicks now know they've got a legit shot to overtake the Celtics. Without needing to guard Tatum, they can focus on shutting down Brown by throwing every double team in the book at him. Tatum's absence also opens the door for a guy like Julius Randle to go bananas. Look, Randle has had his fair share of playoff ups and downs, but if you're telling me he doesn't have to deal with both Brown and Tatum at once, that's a recipe for disaster if you're rooting for Boston. Combine that with how well players like Emmanuel Quickley and Quentin Grimes have stepped up lately, and the Knicks are starting to feel dangerous. Celtics playoff chances. Now here's the harsh truth we're all afraid to say out loud. Without Tatum, the Celtics' chances of going deep in the postseason drop significantly. Plain and simple. Every playoff run has those defining what-if moments, and this feels like one of them. The Eastern Conference might as well be a gauntlet this year. Sure, the Knicks are tough, but waiting on the other side is a likely matchup against Milwaukee or Philadelphia. Those are teams you cannot beat without firepower. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, James Harden. They start licking their chops when Boston shows any cracks. Missing Tatum makes Boston feel vulnerable for the first time this season. Here's what I think could unfold. If Boston somehow pulls off a win in Game 5, they buy themselves a little breathing room to either close the series in 6 or force Tatum back for Game 7. But if they lose, oof. A Game 6 at Madison Square Garden is not where you want to be without your top scorer. Look, it's not impossible. Boston is too talented to die without a fight. Brown could go off, Smart could lock in, White could step up, and we could see guys like Malcolm Brogdon and Rob Williams finally shine. But in a league dominated by stars, losing your brightest one is tough to overcome. What are fans, coaches, and experts saying? Alright, you didn't think I was going to end this without the tea, did you? Here's what fans, coaches, and the experts are saying right now. The reaction from Celtics fans has been all over the place. On Twitter, some diehards are clinging to hope. One fan wrote, "This is why we got Jaylen Brown. The Jays aren't a one-man show. We've got this." Bold take. But on the flip side, there's the panic crowd. Someone else posted, "Season's done. Just pack it up. Tatum's ankle went down, and our ship went with it." Honestly, I get it. Tatum isn't just a player. He's the franchise. It's hard not to feel like your playoff dreams go up in smoke when something like this happens. Head coach Joe Mazzulla refused to give much away in post-practice interviews. Here's what he said when asked about Game 5 strategy without Tatum. "We'll adjust. That's the playoffs. We're confident in the group we've got." Classic coach speak, right? But Grant Williams took it more personally. He told reporters, "We're not finished. Nobody here is folding because of one injury. Tatum wouldn't want us to." Gotta love that fire. And for the national analysts, you know they're already spinning their narratives. Analyst Kendrick Perkins said, "This is where Jaylen Brown becomes a superstar. You don't get this kind of moment every day. Step up or step out." Meanwhile, ESPN's Zach Lowe sounded more cautious, saying, "It's hard to see how Boston strings together enough scoring without Tatum. They're up against it. Bottom line, the takes are flying. But the one thing everyone agrees on is this. The Celtics will either rise to the occasion or unravel right before our eyes. High drama." Alright, Celtics Nation, that's the reality we're facing. Jayson Tatum's injury is a massive blow to Boston's playoff hopes, no doubt about it. But the team still has talent, grit, and fight left in the tank. Can Jaylen Brown fill the void? Can the rest of the squad rally around him? The answer starts tonight in Game 5. This is one of those moments where it all comes down to heart. If Boston can find a way to win ugly without Tatum, they might just keep their championship dreams alive. If not, well, you already know how cruel the playoffs can be. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Hit that like button if you're still holding out hope for Boston, and don't forget to subscribe for more NBA coverage. Oh, and drop your predictions in the comments below. Do you think the Celtics can survive without Tatum, or are we watching the Knicks march to the next round? Either way, it's going to be a wild ride, and I'll see you after the game.